I will call to order the Sanborn Regional School District Finance and Facilities Committee meetings. We'll begin with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, let's move into approval of September's meeting minutes.
That meeting was asynchronous because I was down for the count that day and we had some other conflicts. So it was asynchronous with just some topics that were time sensitive. So I don't know if there are any questions for those topics. Or I think one was a budget committee facility use revolving fund clarification that the balance was in fact correctly reported the previous meeting. We had the Chase Pump House. And Dan, that work, what's the status of that?
He's got the material ordered. He's just waiting to get out there and tear the old one down and put the new one up.
Yeah, because when I came on board, I did tours of the facilities, and that place was bad. It was not only a safety hazard for our people to go in, but it truly is. There was definitely issues with sanitary, like just being unhealthy and drinking water. It was bad. So definitely, I agree with the DES that it needed to be replaced. And then the only other thing was the baking water treatment, which I saw some.
We just got approval from New Hampshire DES to go ahead and put, anytime we do something with the water filtration system, it's got to be approved with the state. So we got the approval from the state from DES. So what's happening now is second one is now going to schedule it and we'll get that installed.
Okay. And then the SLC sign, I don't know if
they haven't done that yet.
Okay.
The flagpole's up, but not the sign.
And they were happy with. I think they're going to go with the option that we prefer the solid sign, just to minimize the number of holes in the building. So
sure,
they seem fine with that. But,
on the SLC
yeah,
side.
the SLC sign, on the side of the building. So.
Okay. And for the sake of the public, Mr. Malilla, I will say that thank you for pulling those things together. We prioritized the time-sensitive items that affected students' health and issues that were going to need immediate attention, and we were able to get answers and move forward on that in a timely fashion without that meeting due to sickness and whatnot. So thank you for doing that. And Rick and Micah, thank you both for being responsive to Matt on that. So do we have any questions or necessary edits to that document, gentlemen?
Make a motion to approve.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. Minutes are approved. Thank you. All right, on to new business.
Yeah, so in an effort to get to the Siemens audit and to the capital improvement plan, I'm going to try to go through these things quickly, but I also not going to rush. So if any, just certainly pause or ask questions or whatever. But again, we always report out inflation. Ticked down a little bit since the last meeting. Encumbrances are there. All the open POs that have been opened up since the start of fiscal year, July 1st, are listed. Cash balance, we have a healthy cash balance. In terms of the fund balances, they have not changed with the exception of the facility revolving use. That while it's currently $197,359, we've yet to deduct the Memorial School ramps, which we'd approved at an August meeting for $44,494, and the $7,500 Chase Pump House that we just mentioned. So really, the balance in the facilities revolving fund is $145,365.10. So it's still got a healthy balance in it, but just want to make that known. Electricity contract. This is very exciting. This just came through yesterday. So previously, we hadn't gone with a broker or an energy advisor. Being new, I reached out to some big BAs and SAUs that I trust. Got some feedback. definitely was encouraged to go with a broker or an energy advisor. Ended up going with Tradition Energy that a nearby district has had a long-standing relationship with, highly recommended. And they put bids out for our energy contract, and which they presented to us yesterday, and we're very happy with it. If you click on the link, you'll see it, but essentially they got bids from 6 different suppliers, and we'll go through it, but essentially we got bids for anywhere from 1 to 4 year contracts. I will discuss what was recommended, but last year we were paying I think 13.6, maybe 17 cents per kilowatt, and they're down, actually lower than some of the districts who signed contracts this summer got, which were about 10 cents a kilowatt, down to about 9.5, yeah, which is great. They also showed us our cost savings, which is presented under each of the 6 suppliers. They recommended the low cost bidder, MP2, which is a Shell energy company. And, due to, as you all know from the news, a lot of turmoil and things in the world that can upset energy markets going on now with wars and other things. They thought, based on these prices, which we discussed yesterday, that they recommended a 36-month contract, just based on instability with the election and all kinds of things coming up. And they recommend MP2. However, they did say, the direct energy, the 4-year contract was also something we might want to consider. But beneath each bid lists the savings. So just looking at the MP2, you're talking over what we're paying this year. Rate paying this year, talking about an average of a $64,000 per year savings. So that's significant. It's much better than I was expecting. Other districts I talked to are getting about 10 cents a kilowatt. So when you're buying 1.5 million kilowatts, a penny is a lot. I mean, in this case, it's about 4 cents less per kilowatt, or 30% less than we're currently paying, which is significant. But I have some information, not that I can share. Any questions for me?
Yeah, do you have a copy of their contract?
Yeah. Actually, the contract,
And P2s?
not yet. I can get that once we decide. They'll certainly share that with us. We literally had this conversation with them yesterday afternoon, and I wanted to speak with you guys first before we committed. But any questions for me? You should also know, I'm just looking at some of my handwritten notes. If we exceed the estimate, we pay the same rate. So if we suddenly have a greater demand, more than 1.5 kilowatts, we still pay the same rate. So it's not capped. It's not like we get whacked if we overage. Let's see. And our current contract, just so you know, ends at the end of the month. So this will go into effect November 1st. So we start seeing, in theory, the savings November 1st.
So Matt and I communicated briefly yesterday about this, and there's always concerns when you have estimates, right? If we wait, you lose it, it goes up, it goes down. And so the conversation was, I wanted you guys to get a chance to see this because, it's great locking in, seeing a savings like that. But if energy costs go down, and like you said, there's other districts that are locked in at higher rates, right? So I just want to make sure we're making this, decision as a collaborative, not pushing on a contract because it looks good initially.
Right, and I don't, again, that's why I also wasn't comfortable pushing.
Oh, totally. Totally.
Either, because again, I haven't done this for 20 years, and
I'd be opposed to locking in for 4 years, so 3 years is the least viable option here.
Sorry, say that one more time, Rick.
I would be opposed to locking in for 4 years.
Opposed to 4.
No, I look for the shortest term possible, to your point.
Yep.
It looks like 3 is the.
Yep.
Well, we can do we can do 12 months. We can do 12 months. That's just what they were highlighting a recommendation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and the energy market is just so volatile.
oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it hasn't really dipped, I'm just looking up right now. I
Yeah.
don't think it's been dipping below. I don't think we've been below 9s for a while.
Yeah. So again, we can do a 12 month.
Yeah.
Do a 24 month.
Right. And were they, and all this is conjecture, but it is there. I mean, if you're a broker of something, then you should have the research for it. Did they have, if they were to guide a client right now, what would they guide them towards?
I mean, they were guiding us towards the 36 month. There was about a 15-minute presentation on everything from global weather patterns
Sure.
and how initially they were forecasting a La Nina where
El Nino. I love it when I get thrown into.
I can't remember the La Nina
Saturday
or El
Night
Nino,
Live. It's El Nino.
but
El
it's
Nino.
supposedly shifting. So now, Tom, you'll be happy to hear this. They're now saying instead of a slightly warmer, wetter winter, it might be colder. So it could be more snow and cold, slightly colder winter, certainly colder than last year.
Sure.
But they went into everything from, lack of natural, just New England relies on natural gas pipelines. They built a pipeline in this region for 10 years.
Yep.
They pushed back on Hydro-Quebec, bringing another line down through Maine.
Yep.
And so they went into all those facts. They went into weather patterns. They went into global unrest, war in Russia
Oh, sure.
and Ukraine, sorry. Everything from, shipping, because a lot of the natural gas, because of demand that we now require in New England comes via tanker.
Yeah.
It's shipped in
Yeah.
some form, which is really adds to the cost. So, again, they're from what I gather, and from what my research and some people that I've learned to trust in New Hampshire, they're well respected. Some districts and municipalities in New Hampshire use these people for over 10 years.
Mhm.
But again, I'm not recommending we lock in the 36 months because the broker says we need to lock in 36
Sure.
months.
It's a data point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what, we don't have many data points right now other than,
The national average for increases over the last 25 years is 2.67%.
Mhm.
That's bad.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just locking in for me, right? It's not as unsafe as it used to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
I don't,
so we confident with a 3-year.
that's where I would land.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'd be comfortable with that too.
Yeah.
Yep. Hedges a little bit out of 4, but
It's,
gives
I
us some
don't,
stability.
I don't see it's gonna go under
Predictability,
9
stability,
that quick.
Yep.
Unless you guys disagree.
And that's almost a, $200,000 savings over the 3 years.
It's like 192,000. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry, did you repeat that number?
And I know that Tina, who does all the paperwork for facilities, will be happy because currently with our current supplier, she pays 32 bills a month.
Yeah.
And they're gonna consolidate this down to
Oh, yeah.
something single digits. So
Sure. Okay.
And make that more efficient too.
So yeah, we probably need a
Motion?
motion. Yep.
Okay. Let's bring it back up. I'll make a motion to enter into a 3-year agreement with MP2 for electrical service. Sorry.
Second. All right. All those in favor? Unanimous. Oh, any further discussion? Sorry, any further discussion, Jen?
No further
No,
discussion.
okay. All right, all those in favor, good. Unanimous, there you go, Matt. Have what you need to go there.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Yes.
Contract custodial service. Okay, did we use Citywide last year or the year before?
the year before.
Okay, we're short custodians, still. We had a custodian go out, following surgery. We had another custodian that had to be switched to facilities, so, and we're not getting applicants for our open positions. So we've had to go back to citywide, for custodian services, because we can't clean up facilities. I don't, I just wanted to, really, bring that to your attention, because obviously it is a contract. What we pay for, contract custodial is less than we pay when we hire, when we hire someone with benefits and everything. But, again, I'm not a huge fan of contract unless you have to go there, because they tend to not have as much skin in the game. Our custodians are great. They're part of the team and they work their butts off. So not something that it's kind of like last resort. But
I think we discussed, were you guys on facilities when there was a proposal that they possibly go with all citywide? Okay, yeah. And I think we decided not to do that, but we utilized them, to your point, and I don't think we had any issues at all with their services at all,
They
right?
were very good.
Personnel was good, no faculty personnel issues, like I think everything was.
No, they were able to cover shifts when we needed it. The other tie into that is, one of the owners of the company is local here, who has kids in the school district, so it's nice to just kind of keep business local.
So the preference is hire our own people, but this is a well-known entity to help us when we have.
Yeah, and what's nice about this is, it's a 1-year contract for one body, but it gives us the ability that if we go down another body, we can expand temporarily to a third body if we need to, and then shrink back at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
As long as we have that 1-year contract with one person, we can do that, and that's what we need, the flexibility.
Sure.
If I have 2 guys that leave, I can backfill those guys at a cost that we agreed on.
And you said the fee is less than what we were paying.
yeah, I believe the total fee was 31 something.
It's $31 an hour, $248 a week, $12.40 a month per person. We average about $38 an hour with the package and benefit.
Yeah.
I got another bid from another company called TPS, and they're at $40 an hour. So I did some checking with other companies, and Citywide, like I said, is a known entity to us.
Sure.
And they're willing to help us out here because they do have a community interest.
And we also met with him and kind of let them know what we're looking for a custodial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want with certain, because we just don't want anybody showing up. We want to make sure they work in the team. Right
Yeah,
fit,
you know
what I mean?
Right, so that's my question, and Rick asked it a little different earlier, but so they meshed well with there's no issues amongst the staff as far as amongst that team.
No, they're
They
working really
They integrate
good.
well is the
Yes.
question.
We made it clear there are certain criteria, like certain things need to be in place with that person so that it was a good fit for the team.
Great, okay. What do you need from us on that one?
I don't need anything. I just wanted you to know because
Perfect.
it's not something that we prefer to do. I
Yep.
mean, philosophically, I agree with having in-house custodians because I've worked closely with custodians my whole career, and some of the best people in the district, and I worked their butts off for
Totally.
not a lot of money, and they can make or break a building
Oh, yeah.
and make a good impression with your community. So you need to know that we just couldn't avoid it right now. So
Okay.
it's not the plan going forward, but just something to do in the short run.
Sounds good. And Dan, thanks for getting the pulse check outside of that as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good
Very
job.
nice.
Just real quick, we'll get back to the energy thing. You said you're gonna get a copy of the contract. Can I see that?
Yeah, I'm gonna call them first thing tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. So whatever I get, I can I'll email it to you and shoot you a text. Okay. All right, should I move on to the next item?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Dan, when we got from the New Hampshire DES notified us about Chase house, with our pump house,
Yep.
And then the water storage, was it the same inspection?
Yeah.
Just so.
Yeah, we have to go through an inspection every 3 years of our water treatment facilities. They look at things like lead piping and if we're doing it right.
Arsenic and all those things.
You got it. So when they did their 3-year, obviously the 2 recommendations they had was the Chase Field House or the Chase Pump House, and to have this tank here at the high school inspected. The tank will be 20 years old next year. They recommend inspecting these tanks, I think, every 3 to 5 years, and I think it was every.
Yeah, so
every
actually,
5
just so the people at home can, so the action item was the 15,000 gallon steel atmospheric storage tank has not been inspected since 2004. It should be inspected for structural strength, corrosion, and other factors related to water quality and tank integrity at least once every 5 years.
Yeah.
DES strongly recommends that inspection is scheduled.
So Matt, you and I talked briefly about this one as well. And
Yep.
so Dan, the question for you, we didn't have you in the room at the time. I believe, and I know Rick was here, can't remember if you were here. This tank has come up before. And
Yes.
the question about, I don't know if you remember, Rick, it was, they were gonna either put in a new tank or they wanted to line the tank with
Line
some
it,
sort of
yeah.
rubber,
Yeah.
right? So to get there was an inspection.
It was an ad hoc type inspection. We took the cap off. They
Okay.
noticed some corrosion in there, and they're like, you really need to get in here, clean it, and do a proper inspection.
Okay,
And Matt
And it-
had it, I think he called us one day and said they drained it for some reason. And
Yeah.
No, we never drained it, but we went
Someday
into
he
the tank.
called us and said,
Yeah.
if you want to come over and look at it,
I
you
know.
can.
That's what I remember too.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
we never drained. The water's clear enough where you can see to the bottom
Oh,
of the
maybe
tank.
that's the one.
okay,
And I have photos of that, and you can see a lot of corrosion in the tank and sludge buildup.
Mm.
And they recommended it at that time, and obviously it was a recommendation from that company, but not New Hampshire DES, and I think we just kind of put that on the side burner.
Yeah.
And chose not to do anything at that point, and then when DES showed up, they said, you need to get in there and get a diver in that tank and actually do an
They literally
inspection.
put a person in the tank.
They put them in
Sure.
scuba gear, they disinfect that person, they get them in the tank.
Scoop
They,
Steve.
yes, Steve?
What are we talking about? 15,000 gallons. How big is that?
That tank is probably from that wall to about
it's a
here
small pool,
in this area.
yeah. See about that one.
small pool.
So, yeah. So what they'll do then is, part of that is they'll go in and inspect and clean
Mm.
the tank, which it needs to be cleaned. It's been
Yeah.
20 years.
Sure.
And then at that point, they'll give us the findings as far as what do we need to do with the tank now? Is it okay as is?
Right,
Do they recommend relining it? Do they recommend replacing the tank?
Right.
Replacing the tank is typically about 3 times the amount of relining a tank.
Right.
It's a huge undertaking. It
Sure.
could take up to a week to do because DES has to come out and inspect it as they're doing it. And we can't be down for a week here at this school.
sure,
With the lining process, just for an educational thing, they typically warranty it depending on what contractor we use. So we'll guarantee it for 1 year to 3 years. But the reality of it is, and every one of them has said it, that it's gonna outlast us because it's a thick
oh
coating
yeah,
that
it's like
goes
a
in.
quarter inch thick or
Yeah.
something, it's crazy.
It really is crazy. And they looked at me and said, in theory, you'll be good for another 20 years.
Right, and is that a spray on or a bladder?
Well, they go in and they drain the tank, they sandblast,
Yep.
clean it all out, and then they spray it on.
It's just a spray.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a spray on. So I don't want to say that's what we need to do until we actually get this inspection, but
Okay.
we're gonna have to spend the money to do the inspection anyways for DES. And then this contractor that's doing it, obviously, whatever 3 that we choose, the one I recommend happened to be the lowest bidder also.
Sure.
We'll see what their,
Tank?
we'll see what their findings are at that point. And if we have to go with the spray line, then I'll go back to these 3 companies and say, okay, now what's your cost of spraying?
Okay, how much does it cost to have it inspected?
There's a link on the
Did I
agenda,
miss
but the low cost bidder was $42.90, and then the high bidder
Oh, right there,
was
that's the thing, sorry.
$7,500.
Yeah.
Did we, just off public, did we ever get is that a PFAS thing? Remember the Attorney General sent us that letter?
Yeah.
That lost class, did we ever get any money for that? Is it still?
No, we're not eligible for it yet. It's basically money eligible for homeowners rather than businesses at this point.
Okay.
I think as we get closer to that deadline, There may
Sent us
be
a letter,
grant
right?
money. Yeah, they did.
Remember a letter?
Yeah,
Okay.
but there may be grant money that will come up soon based on this. From my experience and being a water resource guy in the state here, I truly think that a lot of this PFAS grant money is gonna dry up because it's so broad across America that the feds are probably gonna step out and just say, you know what, we can't do this for everybody. You're on your own kind of thing.
Sure.
So as soon as money comes available, I would say let's strike when we can, because who knows how much longer that grant money will be here when that grant opens up again.
Okay.
So,
are we looking at the low cost bid here? The
yeah, with
4,200?
Yeah.
Okay. And how soon are they able to?
they're actually gonna, since they're based out of state, they're gonna have a crew in the area for the next couple of weeks here, so they can actually get in that tank within a couple of days as soon as I call them.
Probably be a weekend, right? Or,
Well, they can go in the tank while there's students here, believe it or not.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, because what they can do is they can shut that tank down,
Right.
and use water right off the well at that
Right.
point.
It's just a holding
bypass.
tank.
It's a holding
Yeah.
tank.
They just bypass it.
They'll bypass it temporarily. Preferably, they would want to do it on a weekend, which is fine. I would recommend that, because there will be some sludge buildup.
And then you sterilize it, right?
Yeah, they clean and
Once it gets
sterilize.
out, yeah.
You got it. Our water usage here is about 10,000 gallons a day. It's a
Yep.
15,000 gallon tank, so,
Okay.
you know, we'll cook through that tank pretty quickly, so.
Okay.
I would recommend that they would do it on a Saturday, and they're willing to do that.
Any other questions, guys?
No. Make a motion to approve Pittsburgh Tank and Tower Group
Second.
to inspect the tank.
Any further discussion? No? All those in favor? Yes.
Okay,
I'll get them on board tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
so back, circling back to Siemens, back in June, they did a presentation for us, as a follow-up to the, you know, for potential energy audit, and, I know we meant to discuss it in August, and then the agenda was too long, and then September we canceled, but, just kind of wanted to circle back to this. I know my notes indicated that, we were potentially interested in, moving forward with a Siemens audit or some kind of energy audit.
I think it was a non-committal audit. That's what I remember.
Yeah, and we wanted to know what the
Non-contractual.
cost, what was the cost
Yeah.
of
And
committing to.
a sample letter, which I
Yeah.
got a sample letter from New Hampshire School that's linked in, but, you know, essentially, I called them back and they kind of reiterated what they said in the presentation to us and what they had in their materials, which was kind of the next steps are to put our RFQ for a couple weeks and select the energy service company, which, you know, was Siemens. And then from there, we would, you know, put together the project development letter. Depending upon, you know, the scope of the project, you know, if you're looking to do full-scale geothermal, solar, everything, you might be talking $50,000 for a detailed analysis. I don't think we're going that far down the path, maybe we are. But whatever you invest in that detailed analysis, it fully gets rolled into the project cost. You know, so if you decide not to do it, I think actually, well,
If we choose someone other than Siemens, then that's a cost for
Right.
Well, so that was part of the other, part of our question was, so let's just use your number, say 50,000.
Right.
So they charge us 50,000 to do the detailed analysis, and we do go with them.
Yeah.
So does that 50,000 come off of the project?
Yes.
Is that part of the cost? It is.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no out of pocket at
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is, you know, their driver to get you to stick with them, right?
Right.
So
So what are we talking about? I don't know, depends on what we do, but, and they say it'll be revenue neutral eventually, right?
Yeah, I kind
Yeah.
of went back to the materials and they have that guaranteed energy savings, or once they identify what they can save you, they try to do it in such a way that your savings is what pays for the appropriations or pays for the bond, or whatever however you're
Right.
funding it, it's cost neutral. That's,
Right.
that's kind of their pitch. And also, I think, Tom, you worked with Siemens in the past, that's the other appeal with them, they have a track record backing up their financial guarantees.
You know, the way it works out, usually, at least in my experience, it did. If you don't, if the project doesn't cover the cost by savings, then they pay the difference. Right, that's the pitch, is that like we pay them to do the work, but the difference saves us money and they make their money from us making the payment, but our costs overall go down so much that it's a net savings.
What are we talking about in terms of just ballpark, crazy ballparks?
We have
Yeah.
no,
Well,
we
it
have no
depends
idea.
on if we want to go for low hanging
With no
fruit
idea,
with
yeah.
LED lighting, which would be the first step. Or if we
And
want
that's
to
why
go.
it's
So-
We already know, I think we already know that that should be done.
Oh, absolutely.
LED lighting should be done.
But I mean, if
I
we
mean,
want to
the-
look at geothermal,
building
we want to
envelope,
look at
just
solar
the-
doing,
The heat we lose through poor
Yeah.
insulation, ceilings, windows,
Windows,
whatever, some of the boilers.
oh, well,
So
even
if I
even
can-
pumps.
If I can just
Pumps,
jump in
motors,
there,
Yeah,
they
because
do.
this will get a long conversation. So this is the list
Mhm.
that we basically, this is like choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
And what we had asked, and I know this is, I feel like it's an impossible ask, but we have to ask it, which is this list right here, knowing the facilities and kind of some of that corporate background that you have of the facilities, what of this list should we go after? Because
Lights,
right now, the three of us are like,
well, I can tell you, lights, LED lights,
Lights.
number one, because we've already
Yeah.
exhausted that search.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's,
And then
it's cheap, and boilers.
The boilers over in the other building.
And
Right, no,
pneumatic
in this
controls.
building,
What's that?
This
the
building,
boilers in this building, the boilers here are gonna be 20 years old, and their life expectancy is there. If we do boilers here and go somewhat high in energy efficient propane or something like that, now you're eliminating troubles we have with the chimney right now.
Yeah.
Because we have to look at that. If we're gonna stick with the boiler systems, we're gonna have to look at new chimneys. So a lot of these things are kind of.
I hear you. So do we
snowballing.
want to go through this list and right now and highlight what it is that we're looking for a proposal for? Do we
Well,
wanna-
I think that's the person to do it, right?
Yeah,
I
I-
just said LED lighting because I think we've exhausted it.
Gotcha.
And I know
Yeah.
the boilers is an issue. I didn't know about this building as much as
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
the middle school. Those things are like,
They're ancient,
they're
absolutely
beyond light,
ancient.
they're still running, but
Right.
we're gonna run into.
And Jeremiah, this also segues into the next topic.
Sure.
The capital improvement plan.
Yeah.
For the next 5 years, because
Yep.
it's all related,
Yep. Right.
and the budget season's
Yep.
starting, so all these things are all woven together.
Yep.
And we certainly don't wanna just jump in.
Sure.
We do this,
And what I don't want to do is I also don't want to waste everybody's time. So if I'm like, I don't know what the static pressure reset, but I don't want to sit here for an hour. I don't want to sit here for an hour and figure it out if you're like, we don't need that, right?
Right.
So what I'd like is to know, hey, what do you think we need?
Oh,
We'll
absolutely.
kind of be a cross check and then we'll have a deeper conversation about, okay, we do need a night setback. What the heck is that, right?
Yeah.
could I ask just a general
Please.
question? Because I think the question for me is it, and I'm fine with what you just proposed. I would recommend having Dan go through the list and send us all an email saying, this is what I think, do you have any questions? Great. Another option is to have a conversation about having them doing an RFQ for the whole proposal.
Mhm.
Because in my mind, I think that $50,000, if we do 2/3 of it and we only lose a smaller, it's a large sum of money.
Well, what was
but
the ROI on the lights? I think the
It's pretty
50,
significant.
yeah, so I think the 50 grand,
Mhm.
we make that up with just the
Well,
lights.
Well, what
Yeah.
if they
You know
come
what I mean?
back?
So-
Yeah, like what I'm wondering, Rick, is because this is their area of expertise and they do such a good job with it.
Yeah.
In general, what if they come back with something that we don't know exists and it could save us a lot of money? Like at my old school district, it got so big that they were actually piping water, hot water from one building to another. And it was cheaper to do that and do a bigger boiler and it was more efficient in the other building. To dig it, pipe it, and it saved us a fortune.
Mhm.
But we would never have seen that. We
Yeah.
never would have thought of that. So I just wonder if you asked me my opinion of what we should do, I would simply say, if we can afford to and we feel like it's worth it, I would pay them to do I would do the full RFQ.
Mhm.
Find out everything we can about the options
Mhm.
and then choose the à la carte. Dan, if you disagree with that, please speak up.
No, that's a viable
I
option too.
absolutely agree.
Yeah,
Um,
I think we should just go for
Let
it
them
and see what
present it
comes
as
out
a
of it.
full vote and see what we need to
Okay.
vote at that point.
Well, if
So-
they're quote unquote guaranteeing revenue neutrality, regardless of what we do.
Yeah,
So now what's that, let's call it 50,000. Where's that 50,000? What line item is that coming out of?
Well, it's hard to say at the moment, just
I know.
because we're still early.
I know.
in the fiscal year.
I know. Hey,
I
but this
mean,
is the proposal though, so
Right,
that's the
oh,
question.
I know, I mean, at the moment, I recommend facility use revolving, but,
Right.
because that's now,
I think we use the
Growing
grant from
by
the
about
SCA and the SCL,
19,000 a year is being added to that, so it's like 2.5 months, 2.5 months of SCA, SLC rent,
My,
2 months.
2.5.
Roughly.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
we're saying to the community, we
Yeah.
rented the building on Carlton Sockwell Drive.
Yeah.
We're making revenue for that. Let's use it to support the community and
Yeah.
possibly having incredible efficiency.
Yeah.
And if we don't.
Yeah.
No foul.
Okay. No, I like that.
And
idea.
should we have,
What happens to 50,000 for like, no,
It's gone.
gone, right?
It's gone.
Yeah.
So that's the risk. We don't
Either
do anything with this
goes into the
money.
project and
Or-
becomes revenue neutral, or it's gone.
But we get the analysis either way.
We do.
Yeah,
Yep.
Expensive analysis.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, that's what I wanted feedback from you about, Rick, because this is not my area of
It's an
expertise.
expensive analysis,
Oh, sure.
and, you know, we're not gonna
So-
talk about the elephant in the room. Like, you know, we don't know what the future holds in the very quick, near distant future.
Yeah.
Like, so,
Yeah. And this is my
Um,
concern.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so 50 grand might be used elsewhere, like,
Yep.
we know we need the lights.
Mhm.
We know there's a boiler problem. We have a capital improvement plan that we can sort of, you know, make sure we're very active with, right? I think for me, once we move down the road a little bit, maybe we re-engage on this. I think $50,000 could probably be used elsewhere.
Okay, so you'd hold off?
I would for now.
Okay,
That's just where I come out on
okay.
Can I say something?
it. You can say whatever you want, yeah.
I personally think we need to move fairly quickly on this, because if we want this to be a bond or warrant issue, you know, all that would have to be prepared by this time next year, or close to this time next year. And the longer we delay this, it means pushing it another year out.
When you say if you want to be a bond or warrant issue, you mean the whole
well, if it
project?
came, if it was, went to the voters
Yeah.
versus coming out of appropriations.
You know,
Well, but this
because
is
they would
why-
have to all be
Because
prepared
I
by
think the
December
analysis is,
of next
I
year.
don't have the,
Yeah, I'm
in
just,
front of me.
I'm just thinking if the analysis is 50 grand,
Yeah.
right?
yeah,
If the analysis is 50 grand, I cannot fathom what we might have to ask the voters for to do it.
I'm just gonna say, like, if we go to the voters right now and we say, we'd like you to approve $1.5 million in investments in the buildings that we may certainly close later because of dwindling enrollment in Fremont living, which we're unsure of right now, I don't think it'll pass.
And,
Sorry.
yeah.
Well,
And I think
Never gonna ask him
1.5
to-
is a small.
I think
But we
I'm just
but we
threw that
can
number
also
out.
scale back though,
So
and just
I-
make this
yeah.
building a target building and not the other buildings now.
Yeah, well, that's.
Oh,
why-
so just have this building,
Just have this
Oh,
building.
okay.
I mean, we could
I
always go back.
misunderstood. I thought you meant every
Well, I've got
building.
an idea.
I was,
That's-
Envelope,
but-
the insulation, the windows, the boilers, like.
This is,
Everything that,
But is it 50 grand for one building?
things that
That's
you.
what I'm saying.
No,
well, we can find that in the school district.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a different.
So here's one thing that you could do.
We don't-
Oh, go ahead.
No.
No,
Finish.
okay, this is I don't want to inflame anyone in the community, because I'm not saying that this is a plan, and anytime I talk about this, because we closed the middle school my first year here, it gets amplified, right? The truth is that when Fremont leaves, the district will lose roughly $3.7 million in revenue. And when you lose $3.7 million in revenue, the board has to look to me and say, what do we do about that? That's the truth. No reason to hide it, no reason to, we can talk about it openly, we know it's coming.
And we already are talking about it.
Yeah, we're working on it, we know, and everyone knew last year, we had a video where Micah very eloquently said
It's
it
important to know.
in January.
That it will be $3.7 million that we're losing on a rolling basis until their students.
Thank you, I was just about, it's a 5-year period,
Over a
it's not like
5-year
next
period.
year.
Right.
Next year, their freshmen are coming.
Right.
And then they start to taper off, so by 2030, that's when the revenue stops. So it's a longish, not long in the life of a school district, but 5 or 6 years.
Right.
So here's the thing that I would say about that is that when that happens, the board, whoever that may be, is going to have a conversation with the community about the structure of the schools. And there's a piece that I don't want anyone to forget. There's an agreement between the town of Newton and Kingston that outlines that there has to be a school in Newton and in Kingston.
Mhm.
Logically, this building and the memorial school would warrant the study. You could just say, don't do it for Bakey yet, because we want to talk about that later.
Or the middle school.
Or the middle school, well, the
Well, you
Carlton
have
Soccer
renters in there,
building,
though.
we're trying not to call it the middle
Sorry,
school.
stop.
Yeah, the Carlton Soccer, the building at Carlton Soccer
Typically,
Drive.
any repairs we need there are shared with the tenants.
Exactly, the tenants are splitting those costs with us, and we're not obligated. I would certainly think it would be worth finding out if there'd be a reduced price to do this building and Memorial. We could email you those reduced prices, and then you could give us a
Yeah, I
directive.
think that's a,
I do think that there is.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And I would want as part of that analysis to be maybe a good, better, best type thing, right? Just so we know, here's the stuff we really.
we still have to RFP it first.
You do.
We do.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the criteria today,
Well, that's
right?
one of-
What's
that's
gonna
one
be
of
in
the-
the.
That's one of the
And this is the
criteria.
other thing too, is $50,000 is kind of on the high end when they were saying that this is what it's
I
probably
mean,
gonna
it's
cost
like
to do it.
it's a Cadillac there.
Obviously, they're pitching out a high number to prepare us. That number could be significantly less
Yeah.
based on two schools or what we're asking for at that point.
Here's the other thing, and I just want to follow through the whole conversation for anyone who's listening at home or watches this video later. The current board has made it very clear to me that they do not have an intention of reorganizing the district again, closing Bakey, changing Memorial. Everyone feels like things are running really well. It's just not fair to have a conversation about losing $3.6 to $3.8 million in revenue and potentially 135 students at this point, because that's what their enrollment is now, 130 to 135, that at some point, someone may want to talk about it.
Sure.
Right? It might not be us, might not
Yeah.
be you, I don't know who it'll be, but there comes a point around 2031 where someone's gonna say, we've got X number of students, where are we at?
Sure.
You never know, might have a housing boom somewhere in the town and have a
Right.
subdivision built, and it's a whole different conversation, it could go the other way.
There's multiple courses of action that we are discussing and preparing for, and this is how we end with a good outcome, is by preparing multiple courses of action.
Yep.
All these conversations are part of that. So there was, to the point earlier though, I do want to ask this. So there is a sliding scale of, that's the word here,
Services
economy of
or-
scale,
Yeah,
economy of scale.
Yeah.
So if we get a full district, and we're just gonna use that 50,000 number, we get a full district analysis for 50,000, right? But we say, okay, to save some money here, we're gonna say, don't do Bakey and, don't do, I don't know.
Don't do solar, don't do geothermal.
Yeah, so, and they're like, okay, great, it's now 46,000.
Right.
Was it worth the 4,000 not to get the full assessment, right? So I guess that becomes the question, and maybe that is the question to them. So, hey, if we cut this whole assessment by one or two of our buildings, how much does that save us? And if they're like, hey, it saves you half, well, maybe that's worth
Which
it.
would be logical.
It would.
or what if we said,
But again, if it's their economy of scale, like, hey, we're in your
We're doing
district
this
anyway,
Yeah.
we're in there, it's gonna save you $3,000. I don't think it's worth it.
And I think it's also, it'd be good to have it broken down by the low hanging fruit versus the full.
Yep,
package.
yep, yeah.
Because I agree, I have an environmental background,
Yeah.
so certainly all of it makes sense, we have experience in it, but I agree with low hanging fruit, we do that in our houses, most of
Exactly.
us do it anyway.
Right.
We tighten down the house, we re-insulate, we buy better heating systems.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Put in more LED lights, we don't use the old.
And I feel like they could accommodate that, but it would be good to know before we say, yeah. let's
And
try
they're
it.
like, oh yeah, you're doing low hanging fruit, that's 20 grand, we're like, okay, sure.
well, and here's
Right.
the other
I don't
question is,
know.
could we look at just more Bakey, could we look at the LED and the pneumatic controls?
Right.
Because we already have a new boiler,
Exactly,
right? So
Right.
just those two items for
Exactly.
Bakey.
right.
But I would like to know.
They did
this.
mention that in their presentation, June. I
They did.
rewatched it.
Yeah.
She
Oh, yeah.
actually said, regarding boilers, with the exception of Bakey.
And they took it off on here. They took the boiler off of Bakey.
So,
So I mean, their heads up and out.
I just think we need more
Yeah.
specific.
A little bit more
make an
fidelity.
informed decision.
Yeah.
Why don't Matt and Dan and I give them a call?
That would be great.
We'll have a conversation, and then we'll send you a recommendation in an email for approval.
Approval of what?
We'll talk to them and
Okay.
figure out what we want to have them go out for the RFP for and email it to you guys for feedback and approval. So we'll call Siemens and talk to them about the options.
So we're gonna utilize Siemens for the RFP.
Well, we're just looking for guidance on the cost if we have an RFP, because it's most likely that they will be the one that will apply.
Yeah, so I think I told you, like, I won't be able to vote on this.
You did, I know. Yeah,
So I mean, after a decision's made, I can.
yeah, that's fine, Rick. I think that's reasonable because of so I'll just talk to Micah and Jeremiah and kind of work. But the feedback is clear, like figure out so for me, I just want to know I'm not pro or anti-solar.
Yeah.
But I wanna know if we're missing something on the roof of this building for an asset.
Right now, we're missing about 200,000 nail holes.
Yeah, exactly.
Which might be good.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
yeah, and I wonder
That's
about
why I
that,
worry
right?
about solar panels too, right? It's a flat roof.
Exactly. It could be that we were like, no, bad idea,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
They'll-
But I just
they'll-
want
It
to
may
know
not
so
even
I
be
can-
engineered for it either,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know
totally.
about the load.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
I just wanna learn.
Yep.
I know Matt Angel kept saying geothermal.
Geothermal.
Fix the field, geothermal.
Yeah.
Well,
Is this something that, at what point does this go to the full board for?
That would be, if we did that, we would probably do that early November at the first meeting.
No, I don't mean in time, I mean at what stage?
It means in the process.
Oh, I would assume that we would need to have the board approve the RFP. Right, that you'd wanna bring that to them for full discussion and get a full approval, so I was thinking for,
Absolutely, we all have to be either on board or,
Yeah,
give input.
yeah.
Okay.
First of
Okay,
November.
so we'll get it right on it, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Does that
we
get
can-
what you need?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see how this ties into the
And
capital.
again, this
improvement plan.
conversation was meant to happen a month ago.
Yep. Yeah,
And
And it's-
we could have done this asynchronously, but email would have been a nightmare.
sure.
Yeah.
And as I looked through the capital improvement plan, as I was looking through this document,
They're pretty similar.
Two-thirds of
Yeah.
it is actually solved, depending on how far you go.
Right.
And
Maybe
again,
even
this is,
three-quarters.
this is very much a draft plan.
Oh, yeah.
It was literally
It's a
me,
working
Dan,
document.
and Matt Angel before I left, sitting down
Yeah.
and just, because again, at that point, I had
Mhm.
facility walks and
Sure.
discussions with Dan. Dan gave me, in-depth,
Sure.
tours of all of our facilities and discussed, pointed out things and
Mhm.
things that needed immediate attention down the road, things that were great.
Yeah.
So, again,
And you guys know, this is all just energy saving stuff. I mean, there's
Yeah.
other things
There's other things.
there's other fish in the pan here we gotta fry as
Oh, yeah.
far as.
Yeah.
Things that are not related to that and
Yeah.
a big cost associated to them, so.
Yeah. Yep, which are here.
Yeah.
Or should be here, one of the two.
So, before we talk about this, could I ask, we're in negotiations with a couple of groups, and I'd like to talk about that in context of the finances of the capital improvement plan. So could we go to non-public for just a few minutes for the purpose of discussing negotiations, so that you understand the context? And then we can have the rest of this
Yeah.
conversation in public,
Yeah.
because I do want to have the public conversation so people know what we're talking about.
Do we have it on public posted? Do we have to read that?
I think you just need to make a motion to go into non-public for negotiations.
Do you need the RSA?
I can
It's
do
right,
it for you.
it's right here, hold on.
It's in the board
We
meeting.
just used it in our last meeting,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, use it in the board meeting too,
I thought they were different.
pretty similar.
I have one.
As long as you state the purpose and the RSA, we're good.
just talk really fast.
There's a C, there's a K, there's a Roman
Yeah.
numeral in there, there's RSA 91.
Yeah.
Colin.
You wanna read it?
Colon slash slash.
You already, you like doing that.
Do I?
It's right here.
I see it. Make a motion to go into non-public session per RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, B, C, K.
Thank you.
Second.
Are you coming back?
Call me when you're done.
Yeah, I'll text you in 5-10 minutes.
Roll call vote, Rick,
Yeah.
Micah,
Yes.
myself, yes, unanimous.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. And so to continue the conversation, I think our question is, which items in the capital improvement plan would be considered for immediate need so that we can consider them in the creation of a budget for the next upcoming school year? So we gotta really have three buckets. What's out further out, 5, 6, 7 years, what's in the next 3 or 4 years, and what's immediate?
We got 4 buckets.
Do you have this up
Yeah.
for editing right
Only
now?
4 bucks.
Let me see, I can give you editing rights if you want.
Rick, can you explain the 4 buckets for the community, just so that they?
You're on the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if this is
Oh,
the,
sorry.
I'll say, look it up. Micah?
yeah, you're,
Don't stop.
you should be able to edit,
Okay.
make comments.
The list is of items is broken into 4 categories. Category A is immediate evaluation, highest priority. And then those designated in category B are something we need to evaluate in the near future within 2 years. C, we should evaluate in the next 2 to 3 years. And then D is an awareness item to be addressed in 3 to 5 years.
so we have,
So A, high priority, D, lowest priority.
and we have these broken down by school, by building rather. And do we want to, at 25 minutes left, do we want to try to work through a particular school building, or do we just want to start at the top?
What's the goal of us going through these right now?
Really just help with the budget process.
Well, I guess, I'm sorry, can I ask a question first? Have you gone through this list, Dan, and have you added or removed anything that you feel is appropriate? Because I know the track is not on here. The maintenance for the track is still not on the list.
That has to be on
You're
the
not
list.
the owner of this document, I don't believe. I'm just telling you, they recommended maintenance,
Yes.
so we're gonna have to spend 200 grand together, whatever it was.
Yeah, and
So-
about another 4 years.
Yeah,
4
so-
years, okay?
Yeah.
No, it was maintenance. There
Oh.
was a suggested maintenance, so you don't have to redo it every 4 years. And wasn't, I don't believe it was done last time.
Yep.
So I wanna make sure we do it.
You're gonna add that, Matt?
So is
I
it
think-
Annual maintenance or is it maintenance
In
every
4 years, we're up for possibly resurfacing the track, is what they were saying.
Yeah, I don't believe that's correct. I apologize. I remember specifically there was an application that they did.
Yeah, the latex end of the track.
Well, yeah, but then there was another time that they would do that, so you don't have to resurface it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, there was like a maintenance
Yeah.
schedule that they had. Like,
You're right.
instead of just leaving it and saying, oh, okay, in 4 years, you resurface it, that you can, what's the word? Extend the life of the
Right.
track.
Right, with put another coat of latex on.
Correct, yeah, there's some sort of schedule that they
Right,
recommended.
and I think that was the one that was supposed to be coming up in about 4, I think they said every 6 years.
I
we
don't
should have
remember.
done it.
I
they
looked
were-
and I didn't have it, so maybe we can.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into that. I'm not giving it a color. I'll just.
I don't think it was overly expensive either.
No.
Where did you put that under, Matt?
No,
Not
because
compared to
under high
resurface.
school,
what I've
middle school.
experienced is if you do it
Oh, there you are,
correctly, it lasts
Track
way longer.
Yeah, that's
It's
what
way
they
less
said.
expensive. It's like painting your siding on a wooden house. Just paint.
Yeah, and I think I got away from Timberlane, because they weren't proactive.
Yeah,
It did.
but he's not gonna look into it though. So maybe an M for Matt. Or an MD for Matt and Dan. Oh, Matt M. Okay. That's great.
Thank you, Rick.
So a lot, I don't know, if we're starting at Bakey?
Yeah, let's just, yeah,
All right, yeah, so Bakey, loading dock and paving, I know I looked at this summer with Dan. It is in rough shape, the stairs are in bad shape. I know, Dan, if you wanna elaborate on that.
so for the sake of time, sorry, can we, because we're going on 20 minutes now.
Yeah.
Can we just look at the item?
Yep.
Call it out, make sure it needs to stay on there.
Okay.
And does it have the appropriate priority? Let's just go for those two things.
Yep.
Okay, so loading dock and paving still needs to be done, yes?
Yes,
Yes.
And do we deem it an A priority?
Yes,
yes,
Okay,
because vendors use it,
agreed.
correct?
yes,
Yep.
and, yeah.
And again,
absolutely.
A
The kids play
is
around
highest
there.
priority,
Yeah.
okay. Air exchange improvements, and again, we're at Bakey. So air exchange improvements, does it still need to be on there? And then that's coming to use,
Yeah, but it would entail a whole lot of.
Okay.
Ducting into that building.
so B is what it's labeled right now as 2 years, evaluate within the next 2 years.
I honestly would put that like in a C bucket.
I'll change it.
Okay, great, this is perfect.
That's a good question for whether or not we have Siemens audit that.
Yeah,
Yep,
Can we flag those? Can we flag the things that Siemens?
that Siemens would look at,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
one
I'll put
thing
it
that
up
would
as
possibly
science.
look at.
okay.
Yeah.
The next item, septic vent pipes. At Bakey, does that still need to be on there?
No,
It does not need to be on there. Okay.
Completely out?
yeah, I don't know what Matt Angel's referring to.
In the 1980s, in the 1980s addition to the school, the cast iron septic vent pipes have split open. The repair,
Oh, yeah.
The interior pipes, yes.
the repair
yes.
involves opening up concrete block walls.
Yes, that's
Needs to
probably,
stay.
yes, absolutely.
It was currently a B within the next 2 years. Would you agree with that assessment?
My assessment would be, I would give it an A because you have gases flowing into the building.
Okay,
I think that's gotta be looked at.
that day. Thank you.
I'll change the color.
You're gonna change the color, thank you.
Got it.
Yep, because that'll call it out. Okay, next one is fire suppression and alarm upgrades. Does it still need to be on there?
What we have is functioning, it's dated. Um, I would say it has to be on there, but probably like a C maybe. So,
Okay, it was currently a B, want to move it to a C?
yeah, I think
Okay.
there's bigger issues we have to deal with
Okay.
rather than that.
The next one is water system upgrades.
Those were
We
done.
didn't do that?
Well, Bakey was done, yeah.
This is Bakey, we replaced Bakey.
We're talking just
Oh,
Bakey.
Bakey?
We replaced
Yeah,
the
we're-
arsenic filters, but not. the
That
remainder.
should be struck from that.
Yeah, I'll remove it.
Okay.
Can I delete? Nice.
Great. Next one is, I'm gonna leave that there, roof replacement. The roof is currently being replaced in sections when failures occur.
Yes,
Is what I
I would
know.
give that a C.
Okay, it was a B, you wanna move it to a C?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Change that to a C. You got that, Matt?
Yeah.
Next one is playground structures. They're used by the school and community during non-school hours. It was on here as a B.
I would keep it at a B.
Keep it at a B.
It's definitely a concern.
Okay, got it. On to, this is great, guys. On to memorial. Any other questions on that, Becky? Did we
Can I
skip over
make one
anything?
quick comment about the
Please.
playground equipment?
Yep.
It was built for a K-5 school.
Yep.
And so we've had students get injured, and there is a point where we might want to have a conversation about having the parts that are for 3, 4, 5 size.
Yep.
Go to memorial.
Mhm.
And then add items to Bakey
Talking
that are,
about the slide.
Okay.
yeah, the stuff that's big,
So-
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, some of
so-
some of the equipment's wearing out and it's almost,
I think we've got to
Quasi-dangerous
dig into
now.
that equipment and figure it out.
But can that
because
just
it's
be
not
done
an
internally?
emergency.
Yeah.
We can do it internally.
Just so you know, when I talked with the state, the equipment that is at Bakey is age appropriate. Okay.
Okay.
The problem we have is a lot of this equipment is starting to delaminate.
Yep.
There's no more replacement parts for some of this.
So it's time to start looking at.
So it's time to either start removing.
I gotta excuse
or
myself for
replacing.
1 minute.
No problem.
Okay.
I gotta do that.
Rick, are you good if we keep pressing?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I think we're at the point now where we really have to consider removing or replacing, and I would almost put that at an A, quite honestly.
And, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay, let's put it to an A.
Yeah, it's for the kids, it's safety.
Yeah, it really is.
there are some safety concerns, yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm not sure what the first one memorial is, I don't know if that was.
Are we good with Becky?
Yes.
Okay. Building expansion. It says current programs require the use of temporary classroom space. This was actually expanding the building.
This is not a B.
This was back when the other Matt was really looking to expand it, and we as a facilities kept saying, we were looking at the horizon. This is not a smart move financially for the district.
Probably a D or not even.
I
I
would say strike it.
Strike it, okay, I knew it was.
There's nobody that disagrees with strike it.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is air exchange improvements. Again, we're focusing on memorial. It was on here as a B.
So this is the problem over at Memorial right now. is we have adequate air exchange there because we have a split system there.
Got it.
But the split system is starting to fail.
Yep.
It's 15 years old, it's past its lifespan.
Mhm.
So this is another Siemens thing. If we get Siemens in there and we put in a whole new ventilation system, it will cover that. And
For Siemens.
You want
Yep.
Yeah.
B or C, Dan?
Yeah, B or C.
B is like 2 years, C
Yep.
is.
We're just trying to do high level.
I know.
Yep.
Everything's functioning now
Yep.
and we're on life support with it,
Okay.
but it's one of those things that,
I think what he's trying to say is that it's a weird thing because it's a B, because it's not dying, but it'll become an A or worse
Got it.
instantly because those splits are sold.
So let's leave it B,
They're-
Matt.
Is that fair?
they die on a monthly basis
Don't wanna
and
be
we're throwing
alarmist.
money into
Yep.
it.
The individual mini splits on the.
Yes.
Yes,
I
it
hear you.
costs me about
Residential mini
$3,500
splits,
every
they're
time I have to fix
Okay,
one.
that's-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we got it. Check.
Yeah, those were like.
We're with you. And we have an asterisk for part of the Siemens program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
next one is window replacement. The existing windows are residential quality, energy efficiency, yada, yada, yada.
That would be a Siemens issue also.
Siemens.
Siemens, it's a B, is that good? I believe it's,
I would drop it to a C, quite honestly.
okay, drop it to a C
Okay.
and Siemens.
Yeah,
Good.
finish going, Michael?
Yeah, oh,
Mike has got it. Number 3, fire suppression and alarm upgrades.
Well, like Bakey, once again, we're meeting fire code and everything because everything's
Yep.
grandfathered in.
Okay.
We really should think about,
It's on here as a B right now.
It's a B.
yeah.
Leave
I
it
would
as a
say,
B?
yeah,
I
same,
don't like it
I would
either.
keep it as
Bristling, but
Bakey. What
it's
did we
a
do
B.
with Bakey? Was Bakey a B or C?
We said fire suppression at Bakey was a C.
Then I would
Leave
keep
it
them both
there.
at the C.
I don't love it, but I get
I
it. You gotta
know.
prioritize. It's-
Okay. So fire suppression is gonna be a C as well. Look at that.
With the caveat that Dan and I may talk and bring it back to you.
Oh, Mike has got a pause. Hold, everybody hold.
when you say fire suppression system,
Sprinklers.
yeah. That's a C?
Well, no, it's a C to be replaced because it's functional
Yeah,
and it
this
meets
comment is not
code.
accurate, but we're not
The
adjusting
comment
all
is
the,
not accurate.
no,
Right, we don't like it.
Yes.
We'd like to replace it, but we're trying to
There's more
prioritize.
involved with it too.
Okay.
yeah.
Tremendous
Yeah.
work.
I read the comment.
We're trying to just get through, or do we have the right
Yeah.
priority and what do we need to cut off?
That
No,
comment,
absolutely.
Yeah.
they're specified. I'm not worried about that.
We
Oh, I
do.
thought
Yep.
Quarter hour.
ripping up the
Yep, I'm
ceiling.
trying to get
All
out
right,
in the
let's
next
We
5.
are good
Yep.
with the specifications.
We're gonna
Next
do it.
item is backup generator. We have it on here as a B.
I would, at Memorial,
Yep.
I would make that non-existent. I
Yeah, I
think
would
it's
remove
so
that.
cost
Yeah.
preventative.
talked
We,
about
it.
we just got
So-
that quote.
There's
Well, we
no-
all-
Yeah, it was
Okay,
No.
so strike.
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
We all in agreement to strike? Great.
Just want the public to hear this. We did a data analysis of how often school was actually canceled
Yes.
at Memorial, and the cost to put in a generator versus when we've had to cancel school was
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
astronomical.
the ROI is not.
But we did have a couple bad days last year, so I
Sure.
don't want anyone to think that we didn't look at the data.
So the next one is playground structures.
Same thing, I would make that an A or B like baking.
We have it on here as a B right now.
Yeah, we really need to think
Okay.
about what we're doing at Memorial.
Okay. And the last one is roof replacement.
That was done.
Roof is currently replaced in sections. When failure occurs, a full replacement was
Was that the
mitigated.
gym?
We already did.
We already did the gym and
just
the back wing, so
Yep.
that's good for another 25 years.
So we should do the rest.
So is there any
It's
more
on the
that,
D.
it's on here as a D.
I would keep it there.
Leave it as a
Okay,
D.
all right,
Perfect.
all right.
Okay.
And clarify, I
Yeah.
think we need to add the notes in one note.
Okay.
And
What section we're talking
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't been
All
on
the
the
notes
roof,
need
he's
to be
been on the
updated.
roof, you know what's going on,
Yeah.
I just intend to be proactive with roofs
Yeah.
because it
Okay.
saves so many other problems.
Yes.
Do you guys want to keep pressing through high school, middle school?
Yep.
Okay. Track maintenance was just added. Track maintenance, do we just want to give it a letter? Is that a?
That's
I would make that an A.
That's an A,
Okay.
because we've got to be pretty close to when that 4-year window that Rick was talking about is coming up.
Okay, Mike has got the A in there. Next one is continual security upgrades was on here as an A. It doesn't even say what it is. So security, it addresses security deficiencies.
Well, we did a lot of that with the bollards
We
and the
did,
grants that we
We
had.
did, I mean.
and
there's
the
always-
radio, the repeater.
Yeah, there's
Yep,
always more
yep.
room for improvement in security, as you know, we can go nuts on this.
Yep.
I think we're in a good place right now. Obviously, there's some more things I would like to do.
It's on here as an A right now. I think it should be a
C.
B or C.
See,
The security should always be an A in my opinion, but.
Yep.
We can do it as we get money to do it ourselves.
Security is not an A. Security, specific security items are an A.
Yeah,
Right.
General security,
All right,
And
I would
just
say
that
a
I
B.
don't even think this should be on the capital. plan.
it's just
No,
something that we
It
should be
should
dealing with.
be on like.
It should be
we've got daily-
evolving
Right,
all
should be
the
in the
time.
budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This shouldn't.
Okay.
it's not really-
So do we want to
So
strike
we need
it?
to talk about that, because that would be something that we would add to the budget this
We
year.
really should have a
Yeah.
budget line for.
We don't have a budget line for
Been
it.
saying that for 3 years.
Yep, yep, and you've been really supportive, you helped me to get resource
So
officers. at every
strike
school.
it. And note to
because-
you is,
Yeah, I mean,
Budget
if
line.
we have a security concern, we address it immediately. We don't wait 2 years. to fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like in
That's fine.
facility maintenance
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is siding, replacing clapboard siding on the front of the building. It's on here as an A.
I keep it at an A.
Okay.
We
Yep,
really need
yep.
to look at this.
Water treatment system, we got a lot on this one. So water treatment system upgrades is also an A on here.
Yeah, we talked about it.
That stays an A.
Yeah, we need to stay on top of water
Okay.
treatment always.
Athletic field access was a B,
That's the paving
The
of the
dirt
road.
road.
Yeah,
stays a B.
I would keep it at a B.
Okay.
It should really be, really, yeah.
Address potential parking concerns, also a B.
Yeah,
I
I
don't-
don't, well, for me, I'd remove that.
I would too,
I
especially with what's happening.
There's ample parking out there. And like-
Yep,
I
I think
would
we can right now.
absolutely
Now that we
strike
know,
it.
that was put on
Me,
before Fremont
yeah.
left.
So
So
strike it,
I think we strike that.
done. Next one, heating and cooling improvements is on here as a C. That would be Siemens asterisk, and it's on here as a C.
And I think that the heating, the boilers needs to go up to an A.
I was gonna say, we have air handlers on the roof
Okay.
that are beyond their lifespan and boilers that are beyond their lifespan. So I would say put those as an A.
So A,
Is that broken out?
The
it just says
handlers on the
HVAC,
roof.
Okay.
heating and cooling, yeah, so
Okay.
HVAC. You gonna get the color, Micah?
Yep.
Okay. Guys, roof replacement, we have here on a C. The age of the roof, 19 years
Remove
old.
that one.
Yeah, we probably got another
think
6
that's
or
what
7
we
years
wanna
in it, so that would
C.
be, they would put it as C or
Okay.
close to a B.
Sorry, what was that?
Roof replacement, he said we got about 6 years,
That's the
so
one
we are
membrane.
good with a C.
Yeah.
Okay. Fire suppression audit and repair, that was on here as a C.
Yeah, so.
I thought we just had that done.
Well, we've had audit repairs, but we're continuously having some rotting in the sprinkler system pipes here.
Yep.
We fixed what was caught in the audit.
Yep.
But it's gonna continue to keep growing as we,
Okay,
Is that an annual thing?
right, this just seems like annual maintenance,
We
not,
do an annual fire inspection here.
Yep.
Also, I do an annual inspection on the sprinklers at what I can see.
Yeah. Remove it.
We're starting to see fittings
Yeah.
now.
Every school should have a line item for
Yep.
repairs.
Yep.
Facility maintenance. There should be a
And
line
and that's what we're asking, that's what we think needs.
we're
to be in the
proposing
budget.
removing
We're
this
proposing
from
adding
the
that to budget.
capital
We
improvement.
agree
This
with
is this needs to be a line item.
Fire suppression, removes it, right?
Well, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Rick,
It's
what I'm trying to
it's
figure out
a
is how
major
much.
project. I would keep it in the major
Well,
and
it's an
capital
annual
improvement.
inspection, correct?
It's an annual inspection, but like I said, we have failing sprinkler systems in the building now. And if we gotta go through and replace the whole sprinkler system in the building, that's gonna be a huge project.
Yeah, but if we hear that we need to replace the whole system from an inspector, then it enters on to the CIP.
Okay?
So you like an inspection, I would agree.
Well, that should
Well,
be,
Well, that's
happens
annual.
anyway.
They're
Annual
done- they're done
inspection.
annually.
Yeah, I
Right.
think what he was saying is that there's some stuff that you can't see.
Yeah, there's a lot
Is
of
there
this
a
that
way to
we,
inspect what you can't see?
not really.
Okay.
Well, no, but you don't keep it on a capital improvement plan.
Yeah, guys.
This isn't a rainy day
I
fund.
can't see the.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks. I
Right.
agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a smart aleck.
No, I
Okay.
get
Okay, I see where you're going.
Fire suppression,
Okay.
Building maintenance.
Chimney repair upgrade. The boiler chimney is open at the top. I sort of remember this one. It's
This
on
would be
here
a
as a C.
Siemens issue. So if we get
Yeah,
Siemens
Siemens.
on board, then the
Yep.
chimney will disappear.
If not, that's an A, right?
Yeah, because we're having acid come in
Yeah.
and it's,
okay, it's a C right now.
That's funny, it's a C if it goes toward the Seaman project, but if it doesn't, if we don't move forward with something like that, it becomes an A.
Okay, so do we leave it as a C for right
No,
now?
Let's make it an A.
I would keep it an A or B.
Greenhouse and skylight replacement or removal. That was on here as a C. I thought
We need to bump that to a B.
We got a
There's a
Band-Aid
Band-Aid
on
on it
it.
right
Okay, that's
now,
what it
and
was.
it's not
There's a piece
leaking.
of plexiglass protecting it right now that's been literally just drilled into the roof.
So B, yep,
Yeah.
we're almost there, guys. Well, actually, so that was it for buildings.
yeah, I think.
Want to stop
looking at
there?
the time, I think it's the time to stop. You guys need a
Agreed. Thank you.
facility.
Yeah, there's not much left.
Did you wanna bring up anything as far as brickwork at Memorial?
Not right now.
Okay,
No, the meeting's
Mike.
starting in,
you got it,
Yep,
Plus
9 minutes. Yep, okay.
um,
All right.
because that could be a CIP issue.
yeah, we're gonna do a little investigation.
Yeah.
I gotta step out because Dawn just needs to check
Okay.
anything.
Is there anything else that needs to happen?
No, because what I'll do
Thanks,
is,
guys.
I
Thank
can, the next meeting is early November.
Yeah, it's not on here.
Yeah, what date is that?
Um,
Election day is November 5th. So it'd be
It got
it'd be
moved.
November
It got
6th.
moved
Oh,
to
the
the
seventh.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
Thursday, the seventh, because we had to
Okay.
move the other one away.
We-
And I won't be able to make
We
that
can,
meeting.
we can
I'll be in
finish
Phoenix,
this
sorry.
up then, I can just squeeze some stuff into the
Yeah.
budget.
Okay.
At the last minute.
Okay.
So, yeah.
and before we adjourn, public comment. Any public comments? No. There being no public comment, any alibis, gentlemen? Rick?
No.
No? Okay. All right. I will adjourn the facilities and finance subcommittee.
Break here.